Last time on Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
I am Tosk.
Yes. Aren't we all?
I am Tosk.
Yes. Is that your name or your species?
I am Tosk.
All right. So we're going to do this for 45 minutes.
Oh, it started.
And now the conclusion.
The wormhole does bring them our way, doesn't it?
Everyone wants a piece of the new frontier.
And I'm sure you've already tried to sell it to a few.
You don't know what any of this is about, do you? You just don't get it.
Are your lobes being pierced, or are you listening to the premier Deep Space Nine podcast, Audio Oomox? I tend to think that's what you're doing. What do you think? I am Simon Van Gelder, joined as ever by my co-host,
The Captain, John Christopher.
Captain Christopher. Hello. Hello.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. Been very busy, a lot of work, but good overall. And yourself?
Good as well. As you are aware, the listeners may not be. I've started a new position, and so that's why we missed a week. But I'm excited about my latest duty assignment.
So, if I understand it, you have tried a new position, and you have some duty.
Yes.
Your wife must be very excited and also chagrined.
Absolutely. Right in the cake hole.
I want to congratulate you on your new duty and position and your cake hole, and that's good. I'm very glad to hear it. Well,
so let's get through the wormhole.
And okay. Well, by the way, if you're listening for the first time, this is we think the preeminent Deep Space Nine podcast, where two guys, one guy, that would be me, Simon, who has watched this show since the very beginning and owns them all on DVD and has watched it many, many times. This is my favorite Star Trek series ever. And my good friend, Captain John Christopher here, he actually was more of a casual viewer due to certain life circumstances when the show first ran, but he is catching up now and giving us his take. So what you're getting here is the yin and the yang. You're getting the diehard fan who knows a lot of trivia versus the guy who's like, he knows his way around, but he's really paying attention to the episodes in depth for the first time. Is that a fair way to say it, sir?
That is it exactly, yes. But when this originally aired, I spent most of that time overseas in Germany, among other places.
Is that where they had Raumschiff Enterprise?
They did indeed. And so watching the Next Generation in Germany was kind of fun because I didn't really know enough German to track it, but I knew the episodes well enough that I could enjoy them and kind of poke fun at it at the same time. And at that time, in addition to that, there was other American movies that were being played. My favorite was the horror movie or thriller, I guess. Seven was extremely popular at that time. That kind of dates me a bit, but But in Germany, of course, it wasn't called 7. It was called Sieben.
Sieben.
Sieben, which was quite. It was almost as terrifying as the movie itself. So,
well, yeah, because when I think of 7, I think of that dust my dad put on his tomatoes in the garden.
Control the aphids.
Right, to control the aphids, which, the invasion of the aphids. But Sieben sounds like something really awful.
Yes, yeah. And it was on every movie poster lining the streets on my way to and from my office. So, Sieben.
Well, very good. Well, we'll just get right to it. But before we get to...
But first, the Tranya.
So what is your Tranya, my friend?
Well, I am enjoying a artisanally brewed microbrew from the greater Chicagoland area.
Ooh.
It's a brand called Two Brothers out of Warrenville, Illinois. And so I'm enjoying a nice light IPA, and in celebration of some warm spring-like weather here in the greater Chicago area.
My Tranya is pretty simple. I hit the Replimat and did a variation on a martini. It's a vodka martini with a little bit of lemon rind and Lillet rather than vermouth. It's kind of taking about a third of the ingredients away from a Vesper. I try not to drink the full Vesper on a Thursday. I think we're recording this on a Thursday. I'll have the full Vesper tomorrow night. Guess where I'm going tomorrow night, by the way? Guess where I'm going? I have to tell you this really quick. My wife is taking me... My birthday's coming up. I don't know if you know this, but my wife is taking me...
I was aware of that.
Oh, very good. Thank you. My wife is taking me to a new tiki bar that is open here in town.
Very nice.
It's called Tiki Cat, and you have to have reservations because it fills up so fast. And they don't serve food. It's all just tiki drinks. So tomorrow night I will be tiki-ing it up. And tell you what I might do. I might take some pictures and post them to our Twitter feed at Oomox Podcast. So
sounds fun.
If you're listening to this show right now, you might go to our Twitter feed right now at Oomox Podcast and see some Tiki Cat pics that I am posting, Simon, on the feed. So there you go. So that's what I'm drinking. That's my Tranya. And tomorrow night my Tranya will be more island drinks, man.
Very well. Enjoy.
Well, so what we do on this show, folks, is we typically will go through the episode synopsis. Some episodes we go point by point. Some we kind of not race through it, but kind of get through the salient points and get to what we thought of the show. And I thought tonight with the episode Q-less, perhaps, I don't know about you, I'm not really into talking about every plot point by plot point.
I would wholeheartedly agree. I would say that this is not one of my top episodes, and so the quicker we can kind of dive through that and maybe focus on some standout points or things within the episode, and then just go from there.
Okay, sounds good. Well, you want to tell us what's going on with this show?
So we open with Dr. Bashir talking about the toughest battle of his life, really basically just hitting on a Bajoran woman and talking about how he missed one question on his Starfleet medical final.
A lot of women find my looks intimidating. Do you?
My mother makes the best brisket.
There I was in the Congo.
Why is a good man so hard to find?
Just a minute, okay?
Why ask why? Try Bud Dry. It's dry brewed, not watered down. To drink light, yet satisfy completely. So while men aren't perfect,
You finished that?
at least refreshment is.
In the background, you can see O'Brien, rolling his eyes in the back of his head, and he's just pained to listen to this entire conversation. And I don't know if he was there as wingman or if he just happened to be getting a bite to eat and Bashir was there. But he's obviously pained to listen to it, and having been through the battle at Wolf 359, I think O'Brien has a little different perspective on a final exam at Starfleet. So
yeah, true. And don't forget, before Wolf 359, he fought the Cardassians on the ground. He was
right.
Yeah, he's definitely seen more action than Dr. Bashir. Although he's seeing very little action now because he's married to Keiko.
Keiko. Yes. Again, this is one of those opening scenes that really doesn't accomplish much other than make you snicker before they jump into the action. And this whole conversation is interrupted by Captain Sisko telling O'Brien and Bashir they need to step lively because there's a runabout is stuck, needs help. So it's limping in under no power to back to the space station, and they need to help rescue the people that are on board,
including
Dax,
they
get there,
right,
including Dax. So they get to the door. Kira pulls out her phaser. She's wanting to just blast the whole thing open, and of course that's not going to work.
She's a bit of a blunt instrument. That
she can be, and I don't know if that's supposed to be a characteristic of Bajoran women in leadership, or if it's just her in particular that they're making that out to be characteristic of her for sure. But I don't know if it's all Bajoran women. I don't know.
I don't know. Although, after you meet Kai Wynn, you start to wonder.
And Kai Opaka.
And Ma, where's my paw?
my paw. Who shot my paw? Okay, sorry, I had to take a sip. So O'Brien, instead of blasting the door open, he pulls out his handy dandy Nintendo NES entertainment system and plugs it in there and gets the door open. Everyone's okay. They seem to be a bit out of breath. Soon realize that though the Ganges left with 2 people, it came back with 3, and that third person is Vash. So yes, Vash or Vash, depending on who you ask.
Good point.
O'Brien says, "Hey, I know you. You dated my old boss," and they chat for a moment. She kind of recognizes him, but this is the plight of
a chief petty officer,
operations officer.
Guys,
you look familiar. Vaguely.
Yeah, she did give him that kind of, oh, yes. Oh, and how is your lovely wife?
What's her name?
The bitch.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, that was their meeting.
Right.
They kind of walk off, and then they cut back to some random guy squatting down near the control panel, and come to find out it is Q. Q is making an appearance as well.
Q, the semi or the omnipotent, whatever person.
Yes, exactly. So really, this episode spends most of its time revolving around Vash, things that she's doing. 1, trying to break up with Q, and 2, trying to offload, several pieces of artifacts, archaeological items that she has acquired in the Gamma Quadrant. Sisko is trying to convince her to go back to Earth to visit the Daystrom Institute and tell them all about what she saw in the Gamma Quadrant. And oh, by the way, the random power outage that was plaguing the runabout is now plaguing all of DS9.
It's always something, man.
It is. It is. If it's not the replicator making lava when you want coffee, it's random power outages or
Cardassian voles
or like I'm suffering from right now, a terrorist device that causes aphasia and psychological problems.
Okay.
So there we go. So it's just one problem after another, and O'Brien has his Schneider keys at the ready. And Q keeps kind of bouncing in and out, and she's like, kind of leave me alone. I know I'm hot, but you need to step off. And then spends quite a bit of time with Quark, trying to convince, get him to help her offload some merchandise. Actually, he suggested it, that he has some ins with some people who have more money than they have sense, and so let the negotiations begin.
Yeah, and she kind of, with Quark, I mean, are we at that point where she...
Yeah, she starts doing the namesake of our show, which is stroking the lobes.
Doing the Oomox. I mean, guys, that's, I mean, am I wrong, or is that just the equivalent if she was with a human guy? She just put her hands down his pants and started,
Yeah, just doing the nasty there.
There wasn't any prelude. It was just like she just immediately, she didn't even like put on some hand lotion. She just started stroking the love. I mean, seriously.
Yeah, Sisko wasn't singing any old
Bobby Darin tunes
Motown
or any
music.
Motown. It was just all like, she's just like, all right, here's my hands right.
There you go. So start at 40. We're going down.
Here we go.
Yeah. So she gets him down to 22% commission on.
That's quite an omission.
Yes, it is. Earwax galore
everywhere. Ugh.
So concurrently, though, here we go again. So all these, she has all these items, but we still are having these random power outages on the space station, and it's really messing with everybody. And they're thinking if it happens at the wrong time, it could be very dangerous for the ship. So
right.
they want to get to the bottom of it.
Right.
Vash then, after showing Quark all the artifacts that she has to auction, she needs to put them in a safe place. So she takes them to the assays office. And
what'd you call me?
and this guy, House of Garrick is making yet another appearance, because he's wearing what appears to be something from Garrick's Bill Belichick collection, which is the Deep Space Nine, or the Bajoran equivalent of a sweatshirt with the sleeves cut off to make them 3/4 sleeves, but made out of, I don't know, gray felt or some sort of car lining.
Yeah,
maybe that was the roof lining of that of that Dodge that they got the seat covers from.
It could be. I mean, yeah, because Mr. Garrick of Detroit, I mean, basically what you're looking at is some of the finest Krakow aftermarket car seat covers you've ever had privilege to put your derriere on, and he has made them into some of the most exquisite bits of couture you'll find this side of the Gamma Quadrant.
It is. If it's a saddle blanket,
it's Mr. Garrick.
It's a Garrick. So now Quark goes about bringing in all of the bidders for all of this merchandise, and they were digging really deep in the costume and makeup closet this ragtag bunch of bidders.
Yeah, that's true.
The first guy has got, his face looks like a prolapse or something. I can't tell.
Oh, ow. That's smart.
And then it does. I could only imagine. And then the second group is dressed in what appears to be the Black Knight from Monty Python's Holy Grail. There's three of those, and then one person wearing what appears to be a remnants of a Muppet chicken costume or something from Labyrinth, maybe.
That's good.
I'm sure.
I was going to say they're all pretty well renegades from the cantina scene in Star Wars.
Exactly.
They couldn't make the cut there, but Labyrinth that makes sense. That makes sense.
Maybe the gate guards or something.
Yeah, there you go.
So there they are. They start the auction. Concurrently, the ship now, because of the all this power drain, is now being drawn into the wormhole. Dax has a brilliant idea to flood the space station with some kind of ionized particles so that they could track the location. Unfortunately, the side effect to that is that'll even make DS9 speed up even more towards this wormhole, leaving them 18 minutes or something like that to find the location of the power drain and solve the problem and stop the ship. So time is of the essence.
And everybody thinks it's Q, but it's not, right?
Exactly. So yeah, Q's like, I have nothing to do with this.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get into this. I'm an omnipotent being trying to get into the pants of a humanoid woman inexplicably, because why would I? But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. So the auction continues. The bidding is just crazy. Everything is selling for factors of 10, 100, 1,000 more than what Vash and Quark had assumed that they would sell for. And then the last item up for bid is an item that's appeared several times, which looks like a glowing beehive is what I was going to say.
Gotcha.
Yes, with little LED lights inside of it, pulsating LED lights. The bidding starts going crazy for this one, and then it goes crazy, go nuts when Q bids 1 million bars of gold pressed latinum. I don't know what the conversion rate is to US dollars, but I'm assuming that's a pretty big number.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
Yeah. It was big enough that Quark made the same face that he made earlier when Vash was Oomoxing him. And so he was pretty he was pretty thrilled.
Right.
So just as the gavel comes down on this last item up for a bid, here comes the operations crew for DS9. Dax sets the tricorder on this beehive, and sure enough, that's the location of the power drain. That's the source of the power drain. So they did they put a comm badge on it, or did they just they did something so they could lock on a transporter beam, locked on, send it out clear of the station, and then it transforms from its little larval state into this giant glowing space butterfly of some sort, or jellyfish, and then heads straight to the wormhole to go back to the Gamma Quadrant. So I'm assuming Vash and Quark won't get paid for that one.
Probably not. And wait, did we miss the best part of this whole episode? Or
yes, we did. So early on, Q and Sisko are finally mano a mano.
They meet.
Sisko wants to just have it be just the two of them talking, and so Q of course, honoring that request, makes everyone else disappear, followed by popping them both into a old-timey boxing ring, complete with him wearing a handlebar mustache and them fighting underhanded, which seemed a bit silly. It was so silly that Sisko said, "What?"
But he made that great face when he punched him out, like, "I told you I was going to knock your ass out." It was great.
Yeah. It did look a little bit to me like Gary Coleman in the What You Talk About, Willis. A little kind of head turned sideways just a bit.
Yeah, and it was kind of a preview, though, of the looser, more fun Sisko yet to come in this series. So I enjoyed that.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That was the introduction of Q to Sisko. Q was certainly taken aback, knocked down by Sisko, but tried to make the best of it by saying, you're extremely easy to provoke.
Yeah, but you notice Q never really returns to DS9, so it must have worked.
Yeah, exactly. Punch him in the nose. So that is basically it.
They go off to their separate ways, and
right, and Vash opts to not go to Earth, but instead to maybe team up with Quark, or at least follow his advice and find a few archaeological digs that she may have access to in the area with his assistance. And there they go.
Well, all right then, John. Did you... we just, as our wont with this show, we go 1 to 5 bars of gold press latinum. How many would you assign, with 1 being, of course, not so great, and 5 being a wealth of wonderful storytelling? Where would you give this one?
I would put it slightly above a 2, so not 3, not a full 3 bars of latinum, but slightly more than 2. So maybe 2 bars and a couple slips. And that's as far as I would go, and that's really strictly because of Jennifer Hetrick, because she's just such an attractive woman. She made it worth suffering through.
2.5, yeah, I give it the same. And Hetrick, not a big fan of Q as a concept. I don't like the Deus Ex Machina type, omnipotent guy who can snap his fingers and make everything happen. I'm not a big fan of that. I like John Delancey, but I don't, and I think he does great things with what he's given to play Q. But yeah, I'm not a big fan. It felt to me awful much like this is the 5th episode of the new show. We got to kind of do a call back to TNG, make sure everybody's still clipping along, still sticking with us. So let's bring in Q and Vash, and it just, I felt a little like, they're just kind of manipulating me a little bit here, and I didn't care for it.
Exactly. I agree 100%. It seemed like it was all a ratings thing. It had little to do with building the premise of the show, the characters on the show, moving anything forward other than it was just a callback to the Next Generation.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, it's a little fan service. I get it. It's fine. I'm just, yeah.
So there you go.
So there you go. So, okay. Was there any deep sex 9 in this one for you?
Again, go back to Jennifer Hetrick is, and shall ever be just a beautiful woman, and so it was very nice to see her. The early 90s high-waisted pants were quite fetching.
Yeah, she looks great in those.
And just to see her smile, the way her characterization was, with the exception of the just jump in and give Oomox, her characterization was flirty without being too over the top flirty.
Yeah.
With her and Bashir, she seemed to be kind of flattered by this younger man showing such interest in her. So all of that drew me into her character, continued to draw me into her character, in addition, again, to her being quite a beautiful woman.
Yeah, I'm with you. That was my Deep Sex 9, and just by the way, if you're new to the show, Deep Sex 9 doesn't mean about people having sex, it's just the sexiest part of a show. And often, and frankly, mostly so far, we haven't had a whole lot of those to refer to, so thank you, Jennifer Hetrick, for appearing, at least just because you're such a lovely, lovely woman and very sexy in your own way. Because smart is sexy, and she's
Absolutely.
smart and fun. Well, hey, John, what's next? What are we covering next week?
Next, we go to Dax.
New evidence reopens a 30-year-old murder case, and Dax's previous host, Curzon, is the prime suspect.
Dum, dum, dum.
Yeah. You want to just review that one now? Do you like it? I'm just kidding. We'll go through that one.
We'll get to that one next time.
All right, that sounds good. Well, in between, and while you go raid your bar for more Tranya until next week, don't forget to get in touch with us on Twitter. We are at Oomox Podcast. And please, if you are listening and enjoying this and want us to continue, a little encouragement is always welcome on iTunes. Just go to you go on the page, go look up the audio Oomox Podcast, and just give us a rating and review. You can just give us some stars, or you can actually take a moment and write a sentence or two saying what you like about the show and why other people should read it. So far, we've got one review. It'd be great to have more than one. It really would. So, and thank you to that listener, Brian. Thank you so much for that. We appreciate the 4 stars. 4 stars, very nice. Very nice.
Awesome.
Hey, we know we got some improvement to do here. We're not quite up to the greatest generation podcast quality yet, but we're working on it, by golly.
And if you like us, the other thing that you could do is tell your friends.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Let them know this is. Hope we have a lot of fun doing it, but hopefully we could help you if you have a 30-minute, 45-minute drive in the morning. This is a great way to fill that time. So, and just listen and laugh along and then enjoy it.
Right, and also if you happen to be a podcaster and you're doing a show, we are of course very interested in cross promotion. If you would like to have us do a 30-second live read about your show, or you want to send us a 30-second commercial, we'd be happy to play it for you. In fact, I didn't tell you this, John, but there's another show. There's a writing show called Mysterious Goings On, and the fellow Listen Star show, and he does this show. He's a writer, and he has said he would like to do that. And so
awesome.
We're going to send him a spot that you recorded and put it on his show, and I think he's going to try to record one for us. Or maybe just send us some live read stuff. And a live read, folks, is if you've got a show, is just, give us some bullet points to read and talk about your show. But anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we've gone on just long enough, I think. And
good.
I've really enjoyed talking about Q-list. Not my favorite episode, but still good to kind of hear that Q gets decked by Sisko and Vash looks lovely in those pants. And until next time, I am Simon Van Gelder, and
I'm John Christopher.
And you've been listening to Audio Oomox. Your lobes have been stroked for the week. Go forth and sin no more. Until next week, the docking ring is closed.
Closed.